Hey everyone, it's Sharon with the Cozy Junk Studio. We are going to be doing some Dark and Moody DIYs today. I'm going to be using mostly Dollar Tree items to get this look that I really want. I've been dying to do a Dark and Moody DIY video with Dollar Tree stuff, so today is the day. First, we're going to start out with some of these Christmas ornaments. These are just trees to me. You can use these definitely in your Christmas decor, but I'm painting these a brownish gray color. Actually, it's called Weathered Wood, and it's by DIY Paints, but you can use any brown or mix a brown and a gray to get the similar color of this. Now, we're going to be doing 2 of these because we're going to be using these in a display for a centerpiece. For our base of this centerpiece, I'm going to be using 2 of these wine glasses that I got from Dollar Tree. These are the stemless. That's what I'm calling them. I'm not sure, but they are the smoky color. Now, look at your Dollar Tree and see if you have any type of smoky color glass for this. I also grabbed these clear candle holders. I thought the shape was so unique because they have a lot of texture with the pattern. And I just put those down in the center of these 2 glasses. Now I'm going to be using these brown or dark black looking rocks from Dollar Tree. I had these in my stash. I'm not sure how long ago that it's been since I've gotten these, but I do know they still have these. I'm just putting the rocks down and around these little candle holders. I do end up putting some underneath of the candle holders to have them sit up just a little bit higher and not flat on the glass. Once I get both of them the way that I want them, I'm just going to grab my trees. Now, I did put a clear coat on these because you'll need to if you use flat paints that don't have a sealer. And what was so funny is I thought, well, I'm just going to sit these down in here and let them stick out the top. They end up sitting perfectly, and they do stay in place. So you could glue these if you wanted to, but I want these to be temporary, the whole setup. So if I want to change things in and out, I can. What helps to finish holding them in place is I do add some of these kind of sparkly winter, I'm calling them winter berries. They're definitely Christmas decor, but they look wintry to me. So I just add some of those in the front and in the back of both trees. And these 2 are done. You know, you could wrap around a bow or something around the glass and tie it, but I just love the very dark simplicity of these. You guys will have to let me know what you think about this first DIY. Now, this is DIY 1 and 2 because we did do 2 of these. DIY number 3 is a new frame that I've never seen at Dollar Tree before. I picked up a couple of these. They look like they're supposed to be chalkboards. We're going to be using these to make a Ornate frame. They already have a gorgeous pattern on them, but what I did was I grabbed some of my pre-made molds. I have these made out of silicone, and then you just heat them up and you can mold them to whatever you want. I make some in advance out of my molds that I have, and if you are looking for some molds for a reasonable, Amazon sells some pretty cheap. They are such a great investment. The ones, I have different ones. I have some from Amazon, I have some from Temu, and I have some from the IOD line. Now that I have my mold heated up, I'm going to go ahead and add some Titebond glue and some hot glue. The Titebond is going to hold it permanently, and the hot glue is going to hold it temporarily so it doesn't move while the other glue is drying. I'm going to go ahead and put this down and then trim off the edges. If it gets cold again, I can just heat those edges up and trim them up with some scissors. I'm going to add a bird right in the center of this roses mold and this label at the base of the frame. Once I get those all glued on, I'm adding some black paint all over the whole gold frame and the molds. Now we are going to be going back and turning this gold on top of the black. So it's kind of almost a reverse, but to get the look I want, I need to paint all of this a good coat of black paint. My frame is all dry, and I'm going to go in with some Rub and Buff and some of this antique bronze. I go ahead and start with the antique bronze and put it on first and really, this step you don't need to do. I should have just went straight in with the rub and buff, which is what I end up doing to get the look that I want. I have some rub and buff. I think this is my last tube. I have some other colors of rub and buff. I'm trying to use this up. Unless I change my mind, I will not be buying anymore. I'm just going to use gold paint to do this. I've shown you in my other videos how you can use gold paint or any paints to get the same effect that rub and buff does give you. I ended up grabbing a brush to finish this off because I really needed to get into a lot of those cracks and crevices, and a brush works very well with rub and buff as well as your finger does. Now, once I get this finished, I will give this a good clear coat seal to seal it all in. But in the meantime, we're going to be using one of these Dollar Tree wall art decals. These are meant to stick on a wall, and they are removable. So a couple things with this. If I had to do it over, I would have put a glue stick on the back of this or some type of glue. I don't think Mod Podge is the best to glue this down with. I think it actually needs to be a glue stick or some glue. So that's just my tip for this on this particular frame because, like I said, it seems to be like a faux chalkboard, and this sticker didn't want to stick that great, but I made it work. I laid it down and kind of measured off with my little Dollar Tree tool of where I needed to cut, trim that up, and then stick it on the frame. I made sure once I stuck it down to go ahead and smooth it pretty good all over that background, getting out any of the bubbles that would come up. Once I got it in the frame, I did cut off what little bit of excess that was left with just an X-Acto knife. I did rip a little piece off of there, but it was so easy just to insert back underneath the sticky part, and you couldn't tell that I tore that. What I ended up doing after I got this good and settled, I put some of that rub and buff, just kind of brushed it in certain areas over the sticker or the decal to kind of blend that gold in with the frame. I felt like in some areas I got a little bit too much rub and buff on there, so you can remove that a little bit or smooth it out and get the brush strokes out of it with some alcohol depending on what you're using. And then I just blended on the inside of the frame that gold to tie this piece together. Now you guys will have to let me know what you think about this one. I did go ahead and seal it with a coat of Mod Podge to give it a lasting finish. DIY number 4 is fairly easy. It's marrying two pieces together. Now I've had this set of black beads on this hoop in my stash for a while. This came from Dollar Tree, and I found this gorgeous butterfly framed print the other day when I went in there, and I thought that this would look so well together once I give it a little bit of dark and moody style to that frame, because it's pretty gold glam, which I like it, but we're going to change it up to fit what we want for this video. So I just removed that gold hanging strip of ribbon and go to work on that frame. Now I have had some black rub and buff in my stash for a long time, and I've never tried it, but I thought I would use it on this today. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, I don't care for it. It's not the consistency of the gold rub and buff. It's very thin, and it just seemed very gritty. But I push through and I get a couple layers on here, and then I decide that I just don't like it, so I go over it with some black chalk paint. But I'm going to show you this so you'll know my opinion on it. You try it if you want, but it is not the same consistency as the gold rub and buff, which I do love. Now that I let my paint dry, I'm going to go ahead and put some of this antique wax, and I add another kind of a I don't know, it's like a vanilla color wax, just a couple to blend in to kind of make this stand out from the black hoop. And of course I get too much on there, so I have to go back a little bit with some black paint, but it's fine. It's all trial for me. You guys know I love to experiment, and I share that with you on here. Once I get this the way that I want it, then we're gonna put this inside of this hoop frame. I went through my stash and found some short pieces of ribbon that was leftovers, and what a great way to use them. So we're going to be putting another hanger on the back of this using this black satin ribbon from Dollar Tree. Now you can use the black satin ribbon to attach this and make a couple bows on the top. I'm just using some stuff that I already had in my stash to make a couple bows on the top of this, and some of my leftover black berries to make this have a really cool piece at the top to attach these two together. Once I got my ribbon kind of laid out how I wanted them, I just used the berries to attach the ribbon to the frame of this hoop, and I'm also going to use the berries to attach the ribbon from the frame of the butterfly print. I just love how easy this came together, and besides the ribbon and the berries, this was a $2.50 project. I did seal this with the paint with some clear coat, and let me know what you think of this one. All right, our next and fourth project, I am going to be using this thrifted chalkboard. I did pay $4 for this. You can use Dollar Tree signs for this because we're going to be using a couple Dollar Tree products on here. So what I wanted to do was go ahead and give this a good thin coat of this. It is Fusion in cast iron. I love this color, but you can use any dark gray or black. If you're going to be using Dollar Tree signs, just give it a good dark coat of some kind of dark color paint on the background, because we are going to be using, to start, one of these little black shelves from the Dollar Tree. You guys, I had this vision in my head and I knew that it just had to come out. Now, I'm not the first to use one of these shelves on a piece of wood or, you know, any type of background, but I wanted to use it on a dark background to match the shelf. So that's what we did. Now, these come with screws, and you could use the screws to probably attach through the back of this, but I used some E6000 and some hot glue to attach mine, and after I let it dry, it is not going anywhere. Now, I have seen these little shelves in white at Dollar Tree, so if you love lighter colors, you can grab those. I saw this cool piece of art on canvas, and I knew that this would make a perfect dark and moody decor piece. This lady it doesn't show her eyes, it just has a floral crown, and it just looks so elegant and then kind of dark because it doesn't show her eyes. So I thought that we would just use the same process of using the E6000 and the hot glue to attach this to this sign. And again, once this dries, it's not going to go anywhere. I just pressed this down firmly to make sure that the glue made contact and try to get it as straight as possible. This canvas, or these canvases, are not completely square, so it does look a little off, but it is as straight as it can be with what I'm working with. Of course, I had to brighten this up a little bit, so I got out the rub and buff and just added it in different places around here to highlight the edges of the frame and of this little shelf. I go ahead and go around the edge of the artwork as well and on the sides to give it all a good blended in look. Now, you guys, it took a lot for me not to add a bow to this. I was thinking a wine colored velvet ribbon bow would look beautiful, but I held back and left it more of a plain piece because we're going to be adding some things to the shelf. You all will have to let me know what you think about this one. Should I have added a bow to this at the top and let it hang down? Project number 6 is just one of these clear vases from Dollar Tree. I've had this one in my stash for a while, but we're going to be using it to do a makeover on it. I'm just going to be using some black and champagne colored paint on this. It's fairly simple. I did not mark this off with tape, which you can. I just freehanded the design that I wanted on here, but if you don't feel confident to do that, or you want your lines super crisp, then grab some painter's tape or any kind of paper tape and make the design that you want, and then paint the design on underneath of that tape or above, depending on what your design is. So I just kind of made this a curved all the way around with a peak at the top, and I used black chalk paint. It does work the best on glass that I found, but you can use any kind of black paint. Once I let that dry, I'm going back in and just doing about a 1-inch line all the way around the bottom of this, and I'm going to let that dry as well. And then I give it a clear coat of matte sealer, not a shiny, because I want this to be kind of matte looking And I also want it to be more of a dark and moody style. But if you like bright colors, then by all means use different colors. But we are tying this in with our video of the dark and moody colors. Once it's dried, I went in with a clear matte sealer only on the painted areas. I can't talk today, you guys, and I will apologize. I am fighting 3 different noises today, but I really want to get this video out. Someone's working on an automobile outside. Well, it's not someone, one of my sons. My husband is cutting wood in the back, and the road noise is insane because it's the Sunday before Christmas. So I'm sorry for all the noise. I went ahead and stuck some florals that I already had in here and some of those dark Dollar Tree rocks and finished that piece off. Let me know what you think. Project 7 and 8 is fairly simple as well. You all, if you see these canvases you love, pick them up because you can add them to so many things to give them a higher end look. I found these and I love the dark with the beautiful cream and green colors on here of the I can't remember the names of these flowers, but they are gorgeous. So we are going to be using these 2 panels that I picked up and just gave a haphazard coat of chalk paint over the black. They had been black spray painted, but I toned them back with that, sealed that up with that matte clear coat, and then just used a tad of hot glue to attach these because you can take any of these canvases off and replace them for whatever season if you're using a metal background like this. So I didn't want to attach them with that E6000 and because I don't want them to be permanent. I can just, like I said, pop that hot glue off or that piece of art with the glue and then pop some more back on real easy. I forgot to show that I did add a little bit of gold rub and buff and some silver wax that I had to kind of highlight the edges of the tin. Project 9 is going to be another easy one. You all, I picked up some of these black canvases from Dollar Tree. Aren't these gorgeous? I love black, so how could they not be? What we're going to use is the other part of that wall decal. Now, I got smart on this one after I pulled off the sticker and started laying it down. I felt that it wasn't sticking, so I thought, you know what? I'm going to go in with that Mod Podge like I should have with the first one, or a glue stick. Honestly, I wish I would have used a glue stick again, but I need a big fat glue stick. The little one would have been like a lot of work. So Mod Podge was easy for the win. So I go ahead, peel that back off, and then get my Mod Podge out and just give it a good coat and then stick that sticker back on top of the Mod Podge. See how easy that was to pull off? It just wouldn't stick. I decided after I got the Mod Podge on to go ahead and give the top of it a coat as well. That way it seals it completely in. I did use my Mr. bottle a little bit to make the Mod Podge flow better. Then I let that dry. I went ahead and added some of that gold rub and buff just around the edges of that and kind of on the flower a little bit like I did with that other piece that we did earlier. You could definitely attach these to a larger piece, but I wanted to show you, I bought these canvas frames a few years ago on clearance for like $4 from Hobby Lobby. And you just insert the canvas into them and then hang them on the wall. So I wanted to show you how this looked inside of a frame. Our 10th project is super easy. Grab 3 of the Dollar Tree mirrors of your choice. I love these black and gold ones. 3 different types of vases. Were all the same. I grabbed this one that had a unique shape and a little taller than the 2 mason jar ones that I've got as well. I'm going to add some of those black rocks to the center of this one. And the 2 mason jars, I'm going to add some of these mini pine cones to cover up those candle holders at the bottom because we're not going to need those. I'm not filling it all the way up though. I'm going to add some of these Hobby Lobby lights that I got. They're battery operated candles. Now the center one I do end up changing because the battery in it didn't work and I just put a shorter one in. I'm adding some foliage that I already had. This is kind of a wintry, dark and moody look. I'm adding some gold beads or berries that I had thrifted and a pine cone in the center. Now you can glue all this together with hot glue or E6000 for a permanent hold. And if you're going to use this as a centerpiece, I would do the berries and the pinecone foliage all the way around and make it a full centerpiece. This is just an idea for inspiration. I do love all of the different darks together with a hint of the white and gold. All right, the next projects, 11 and 12, again, are going to be super easy. Now we're going to start out with this black velvet ribbon that I've had in my stash for a while. You can get black satin ribbon at Dollar Tree. I do have some of that and have used in these projects, but we're going to be using this black velvet because we're making hangers. Now I'm showing you how I make these bows. I am not a bow professional, but this is how I made mine for this set of projects. Once I finished part of the bows, I went ahead and got my 2 canvases. That's right, we're going to be using 2 more canvases from Dollar Tree. These things are so easy to give a high-end look, and if you pick the right ones, they can look so classy. Now, I grabbed 2 black and white ones because I thought they looked gorgeous, and these could be for any season. I really love the one with the tree. It actually looks like it has snow on it, but it's not. It's just the color of the tree. We're just going to hot glue this ribbon into a triangle at the top style with hot glue to be our holder. Once we get that glued on there and attached, let it dry. We're going to flip that over and add that bow we made at the top. We're going to do that to both of these, and then this project is going to be finished. If you look at a lot of older photos, especially back in the 1800s, they hung photos and art from the wall like this with ribbon. I just took black tacks from the Dollar Tree and tacked these into the wall to hang them on for display. Projects 13 and 14 are going to be in the dark and moody realm, but they also are going to have a winter vibe to them. We're going to be using several things from the Dollar Tree as well as some stuff from my stash. We're going to start with this wood shelf. We're not going to be using it as a shelf, but more of a background for this piece of vinyl tile from Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to cut the tile down to fit this shelf and use some triple thick glue to attach it because the sticky part just isn't enough. And when you cut these, it does separate the tile from that backing, so you have to glue in between it. I just used a Sharpie marker and marked my lines to measure off where I need to cut this. I'm cutting it so that the pattern is center of my board instead of off center, so I'll need to cut on both sides of this. I go ahead and pull that back piece off and use the sticky part to stick this to the wood. If I had to do this over, I probably would just have removed that and just glued the piece of tile straight to the board with the triple thick Type Bond glue, but I didn't, so it's fine. I just put some glue in between the 2 layers to make that stay down flat. Then I cut an additional piece to add to the top of this. Because the sides of this are just that wood, I'm going to use this black chalk paint to go around all the edges and give this a good outline, and I'm going to go on the edges of the vinyl as well and outline those corners and give this more of a, I guess a darker look around the edges instead of just that plain silver. I'm really on the fence about this one, so I'm interested to see what your all's feedback is. I just felt like the silver backing was plain and needed something more. I don't know, y'all have to let me know. Or if the whole project was just too busy. Like I said, I just, I'm not sure on some of these, but I'm going to put them together and let you guys judge. Also, it shows you some processes and some ways to do things, so it's here for a reason. So we're going to be making 2 of these. I'm only going to do one on camera. I'm going to be taking the little paper clip off of this and the little back holder for the stand. I painted this with that black chalk paint. I gave it a good coat, and now I'm just going to glue this to the silver piece with some hot glue. I don't think I use the triple thick glue because the hot glue held it pretty well. I found these really neat floral blocks at Dollar Tree. I purchased a few of them. They just look really moody to me, maybe not real dark. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to the arch, but I'm going to trim around that with that black chalk paint just to kind of outline it as well. This is where I think maybe it's a little busy because of the pattern of the flower on this and that pattern of the background of the tin. Like I said, I don't know. You guys let me know. To attach this to the arch, we're just going to use hot glue. It sticks very well and holds it really good, surprisingly. but I'm sure it's probably because these glue sticks are supposed to be for wood, and this is going to be, well, I don't know if that's wood, but it's probably pressed wood on wood. So I did get some hot glue on that frame, and I just pulled it off and painted black back over it. Now I'm just adding some florals that I had in my stash. This white picks are from Dollar Tree. I just kind of cut them down and used hot glue to add them on. And then I'm going to add some of those gorgeous wintry like picks. They have this really pretty glitter on the ends of them, or I don't know, it's not really glitter, but they're definitely shimmery. So we're going to add all those with some hot glue. And I just love how the branches play off of the floral pattern on that little block. I think it looks more like tree branches than floral stems to me. To finish this off, I'm going to be adding a couple of these bows. Both of these ribbons are from the Dollar Tree, and I love that chocolatey satin ribbon. Oh my goodness. And it matches those tree branches or the flower branches so well. So we're going to add those, and then I'm going to go kind of underneath and add a few more of those little brown branch picks to fill that in some. I did say that Dollar Tree has this beautiful satin chocolate ribbon. It's like a milky taupey color. They had several different sizes of the satin. They also had the grosgrain with the ridges in it. So check that out. I don't know if your all's Dollar Tree has it, but I picked up a couple different sizes. I do really like how these turned out, but I am not sure if they are a little bit busy or if something more needs to be done to that background. All right, project number 15 is going to be a blank canvas from Dollar Tree. Grab whichever size you want, get your hot glue gun out, and we're going to make some trees on this one. Now, I saw some Pinspiration photos. The one that I really liked the most, when I clicked on it, there was no link, so I cannot credit the person that did this. I just took my hot glue gun and filled in tree branches as I wanted them. And now, if you start doing this and your glue skips, just go back in and fill in those spaces. I will tell you the strings on this was a pain. The hot glue that came with this glue gun from Amazon is what I've been using, and it is so stringy. So it was not, I should have got my Sure Bonder out because it's not as stringy. But anyways, another thing, a smaller glue gun tip would have been better for this, but this is the one that I had hot, so I just went with it. Once it's dried, I just took a brush and went over the whole thing to get most of those strings off, and then I went back over it with my heat gun to melt what was left. Now we're going to be painting this, and it turns out so gorgeous. The amount of hot glue art out there is insane. So just use your imagination, use Pinterest, and make whatever kind you want on one of these blank Dollar Tree canvases. I got out the champagne color I've been using throughout this video, a warmer color, a dark chocolate, and a gray brown, because this is going to kind of be an ombre artwork, piece of art. And I started with a sponge, but it just wasn't working, so I just switched to a brush, and I did a whole 2 coats of this champagne color and let that dry as my base color. Once it dried, I went ahead and used the watered down, or some of that brown, and watered it down to age this champagne and to get some grunge in between those, or even shadow looking in between those branches. Once I get that completely coated, I'm just going to take a paper towel and wipe some of that back, not being too rough, just getting the largest part of it off there, because we're going to go ahead and do the paint part of this only at the bottom. We're going to start with our shadow background using a mixture of 2 of these paints, the kind of warm color and that gray brown color. I'm mostly trying to dry brush, well, it's a little bit more than dry brush, some mountains in the background, filling that whole bottom part in, and then just making some mountain peaks. I'm taking my paintbrush and dabbing up and down to give it a hazy look. Once I get that how I want it, I kind of smudge what's left on my brush in between the mountains because we really want them to look blurred. And I still felt like they were too harsh, so I went ahead and grabbed some more of that champagne color and just kind of went over them to smudge them even more. Now don't forget, you can slow this down if I have it sped up too fast to get a more in-depth. I don't miss any steps on here. I do it all on here, but I do speed it up. Now that I kind of have the background the way that I want it, I'm grabbing that darker chocolate and making another set of mountains that are kind of in front of this set, and kind of doing basically the same things, but I'm putting peaks in between the peaks of the background so that they look more offset. Again, with just that dabbing motion with the brush. Once I get this color done, I'm going to get just some straight black paint and add some forefront mountains, which gives this even a more in-depth 3D look. I'm going to go ahead and drag those colors around the sides of this to give it a more finished look if you want to hang this without a frame. The next step, we're going to use some white paint to highlight those trees. We're going to do them all the way from the bottom and to the top. I do go ahead and use a couple coats to give them that bright white look. Then we're going to seal this with a glossy coat sealer, and this piece will be finished. You will have to let me know if you like this video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment below. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. I am looking forward to new videos in the new year with you all, including dark and moody, thrift flips, recycling, some quick videos, and just all around new year inspiration. Now, with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.